Well, hey there. Welcome into Izzo's place. It's Thirsty Thursday. I think we need to review a bourbon. So if you saw the short that I released today, it was the neck pour of this Watershed Bottle and Bond 4-year-old. See, is it finished in anything? I don't remember. Doesn't say it was finished in anything. This is out of Columbus, Ohio. So relatively local to me, 2.5 hours away or so, 2:10, 2.5, somewhere around there. Now, if you've been watching the channel long enough, you know that I, a while ago, had this. They're a 6-year-old bourbon finished in apple brandy barrels. It was batch 3 of this particular one, and I had heard other people say good things about batch 1 and batch 2. I have heard that batch 3 was not as well liked, and personally for me, the apple came through as a rotten apple taste. And so this, if you're checking the channel out, if this is your first time here, welcome in. If you want to check out the baby bourbon barrel experiment, this is what prompted that. I bought a barrel and I tried to age the rotten apple out of this, and actually was fairly successful. It went from rotten apple to sour apple to green apple, and I don't see my bottle. But anyway, I ended up bottling it in its own little thing, and I called it Apple Madness. And I gave it out to friends. I might have another bottle here for someone to beg for a sample of it. But anyway, so I was initially nervous of anything Watershed because of this bottle. But then, at a local liquor store, a representative from Watershed was there giving out samples, so I went ahead and tried the samples anyway. And this was not anything I sampled that night. I actually did sample something else that had been finished in apple brandy barrels, and it was actually good. And I sampled their old-fashioned mix. That was actually really good. So then, because I'd had such a good experience with those two tastes, I went ahead and spent the money, and I got the Watershed's Bottle and Bond. So let's go ahead and open it. And I've drank a little bit of it, enough to go ahead and get some air in there, get some oxidation going, get those flavors churning and changing. And the cap just fell apart. Boy, I hate that. I'll have to epoxy that or something later. Alright, so that immediately puts a -1 on this experience. Alright, let's go ahead and pour this. I'm going to go ahead and nose it and sample it right off of this pour. This is not the neck pour. This bottle has hopefully opened up a little bit, but I'm going to roll it, we'll nose it and taste it, we'll review the bottle like I've been doing in some of my newer videos that probably haven't come out yet, so you don't know what I'm talking about. And then we'll go back to it after it's been allowed to sit for a while. But of course some air has gotten to this because of drinking a couple of pours off the top. I almost have a hint of green apple, and I think I put it into my own head because of this. I don't think that green apple note is going to last. Boy, it's trying to stay, but there's some fun stuff in here. That green apple stayed. But I've got cinnamon, I've got caramel. If you watch the short, I mentioned an acetone note, and an acetone note kind of means like the pure alcohol smell is there. At least that's what it means to me. Pure alcohol smell is there, and to me that denotes that maybe the whiskey is a little young, but I mean, a Bottle and Bond, they're supposed to be 4 years old, so you know there shouldn't be anything young about this. I don't know why I put that cap back on because the cap's broken. There we go. All right, so initially we got green apple, we got cinnamon, we got caramel. Got to cough at least once apparently on these reviews. Hopefully you can't hear the fan. It's a warm night at the shop. There is no AC here at the speakeasy yet. The speakeasy, like my shelving here, it looks pretty neat. I can't wait to be able to actually work on this room and to give you the entire vision of what I want this to look like. I may make a little video, behind the scenes video. I'll tag it at the end of this video and you can see the mess that surrounds me. It's kind of funny. Like you can't see it, it's just barely off camera. There's like 12 whiskeys in front of me because I need more shelves. What a problem to have, right? At least I know a guy that makes shelves. So it's almost like a caramel apple, just a little hint of cinnamon on it. It's got really kind of nice. Quite a hug, but I haven't drank any whiskey today. So when it touches the front of the palate, there's a little sweet note there, mostly caramel. Then it gets kind of medicinal and spicy. So, and there's actually just a hint of cherry. So it's like a cherry Dayquil with some baking spices over top of it. Medium finish, decent mouthfeel. It doesn't feel weak in the mouth. It's kind of fun. And let's leave it at that. Let's go ahead and review the bottle, and then I'll come back here. So like I said, distillery in Columbus, Ohio. Bottled and bond, and then they give some letters here. DSP OH 15017. I assume that's where they distilled it, possibly where they aged it. Watershed Distillery, straight bourbon whiskey. Bottled and bond under U.S. government supervision. That's what bottled and bond is. In case you didn't know. 100 proof, 50% alcohol by volume, aged 4 years. Bottle number 015992, 25.4 fluid ounces or 750 milliliter. Watershed Distillery. Anything on the back? Watershed Distillery. Watershed Distillery's bottled and bond straight bourbon whiskey is a careful blending of our finest bourbon barrels, 100% distilled, aged, and bottled on site. We are proud to share a bottled and bond bourbon after years of anticipation, bottled at 100 proof from a single season, featuring robust flavors of caramel, chicory. I have to look up what chicory is, I don't know what that is, and dark cherry. Cool, I got the caramel and the cherry. At Watershed Distillery, we've got great ingredients and a team dedicated to the pursuit of perfection. Our bottled and bond bourbon reflects that commitment. Non-chill filtered, distilled from grain. Celebrating 10 years of independent distilling. Cool. Distilled and bottled by Watershed Distillery, and they get a little emblem that has a picture of Ohio, and there's some other writing. Let me grab my phone so I can flashlight it. Columbus, Ohio, 43212. I assume that's the zip code. 1145. Chesapeake Avenue, site Suite D. So if you need to go there. They do have a restaurant there. I haven't tried the restaurant yet. I'll have to go try it. DSP Ohio 15017. We read that already somewhere else. And you can go to www.watersheddistillery.com to check out their story. I have not done that yet. I am going to eventually. They're close enough. I wouldn't mind. If for some reason someone from Watershed is listening, I wouldn't mind developing a relationship with you. Let me know if you want to send samples of things, or if you want me down for a tour. And also, I believe they are connected with Fount. I know I've seen Watershed bourbon at some of Fount leather goods openings. So that's a neat thing, because I'm also connected with Fount. So, connections. All right, we've let this sit for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. But also remember, this was not a new bottle. We let this open up. The green apple's kind of disappeared. It's turned into... There's just almost like that green apple, the sharpness of a green apple is very similar to a citrus taste, so it's kind of turned into a generic citrus instead of that specific green apple. The caramel's still there. There is a hint of that cherry, and then some spice, and it's leaning towards cinnamon for me. It's a neat nose, and I'm not getting any of that acetone that I got on the neck pour. So this time on the palate, the caramel stayed the whole way through. The caramel was most prominent right in the front when it tasted it, and then the caramel stayed even as it turned into some brighter citrus notes, a little bit of cherry, a little bit, and then the cinnamons. The spices. Didn't really get as much cinnamon on the palate as I did on the nose. It kind of converted more of a clove and a little bit of nutmeg. Hug disappeared, but that might be I taste a lot of whiskey's problem, and then. Second taste, my body had acclimated. So not too much of a hug there. I feel a lot better about Watershed Distillery after that taste. I felt better after the salesman, gave me a couple of samples at that one liquor store on Mayfield Road. But I feel better having purchased this. I feel good about it. I believe it was $50, so not a bank breaker. And don't remember when I picked this up. This has been in my possession for a bit, and I don't remember doing the neck pour. But just real quick, we're going to go ahead and throw this up against this. Now it's only 90 proof, so the proof's a little less. Batch number 96. Let's go ahead and see what we said. We started aging this bottle of our Dovetail double distilled bourbon in charred oak barrels years before it made its way to you. We've impatiently awaited its arrival, and now that it's finally ready, we hope you'll enjoy it as much as we do. Cheers. P.S. Our copper still is running more often than not. If you're in the neighborhood, stop in and say hello. So that's fun. Do they have a date on here? There's no date. Wonder when. I don't even remember when I picked this up. But that's the problem of just purchasing too much whiskey. I really need to log things in and write down prices and when I got things. Anyway, distilled and bottled by Watershed Distillery. They give the address again: 1145 Chesapeake Avenue, Suite D, Columbus, Ohio 43212. This bourbon is crafted from grain grown in the Midwest, distilled from grain. So they don't say the mash bill, but they do say that they get the grain from the Midwest. Now the Midwest is a large area, so obviously not getting it specifically from Ohio. There may be some Ohio grains in here though. And this one, at least the top didn't break off. So this is 90 proof. So 90 proof, comparable to your Buffalo Trace, to your Woodford Reserve, Weller Special Reserve, things like that. Color's pretty similar. I wouldn't be surprised if the age was decently similar. 3 or 4 years. Could be as young as 2, but who knows? Ooh, it smells younger. It smells a lot younger. I'm getting that acetone note on this. Okay, already the acetone note is fading. I actually am getting a very grain-forward nose on this. And usually, a grain... So, for me, Irish and Japanese whiskeys have a distinct, what I call, like, standing in a wheat field note. And I honestly don't know if I've ever stood in a wheat field, but it's what my brain tells me that if I'm standing in a wheat field, the smells that would be assaulting me. So just a touch of acetone, but coming through stronger is that wheat field note to me. A hint of cherry coming through. Wheat field, hint of cherry. Acetone is trying to fade away, but it's sticking around a little bit. The wheat field note stays through. A little tiny bit of the medicine-y, acetone-y taste, but not very strong. It's not bad. It's probably a lot cheaper too. I'm not sure the price on this, unfortunately. I could check though. What I'm thinking is I might need to take all my 90 proofs and do a blind. That might be fun. Of course, Eagle Rare will win. What else do I got that's 90? I know the Buffalo Trace. We could throw the Travelers in there. The Special Reserve's a 90. The Woodford Reserves are close to 90. They're like 90.4. Of course, if I throw the Double Oak in there, that'll just win also. Yeah, either probably the Eagle Rare would be at first and Double Oak at second. What are these old elks? It's over 100. Those are all over 100. Well, I'll look around. I think Maker's Mark is probably 90. So I will do a 90s blind. I think I might have a Penelope that's 90. I really like Penelope though. That might be third place if I did 90s. But yeah, I'll do a 90s blend. But that's not bad. At the very least, you could probably make a pretty good cocktail out of it. I wouldn't be too upset if someone poured this for me and just for a tasting nosing. It's not fantastic, but it's, considering how I felt about Watershed, it's pretty good. Yeah, I'll definitely have to do a 90s. I'll find at least 9 90s. We'll do one of the larger blinds, 9 90s, and we'll see what comes out on top and where Watershed lands itself. Now, in comparison, going back to the 100 proof, the Bottle and Bond. So, even though I'm saying this isn't bad, I don't regret buying it. It might end up in cocktails down the road when we start doing cocktails on this channel after the speakeasy's done. After having tasted that, and then going back to the Bottle and Bond, if you're looking at it as to have something that you want to taste and nose and enjoy in that way, of the two, go with the Bottle and Bond, because it's kind of head and heels over the regular Watershed. Cool. Well, that's probably good enough for tonight. Thanks for coming to the speakeasy and hanging out with me on Thirsty Thursday. If you're working, work safely. If you're drinking whiskey, please drink responsibly. But do everything with a little bit of whimsy, and you're going to have a good time. I will see you next time you're hanging out at Izzo's place. Here's the behind the scenes I promised of the mess around me. I'm seated at the seat that you saw me in the video. That's what I'm looking at. My desk completely covered in comic books and miscellaneous crap. These two I just neck poured. That's empty. Those are empties. All those other ones there, they are not cracked yet. I'm gonna get to them, but I don't know when. We just wanted to show you a little behind the scenes, and I can't wait till you get to see it in its full glory. Hopefully later this year, early next year.